sorry about that. Okay, good morning. I just turned down the heater because it's quite cold here for some reason. I know one of the reasons is that my gas was turned off because of malfunction in the pipes, and I need to change those or fix the malfunction. And so I need to heat my apartment with an electrical heater. And that's loud. So, sorry about that. And let's have a look what I did yesterday. I kind of played around with my terrain yesterday, and I doubled the size of it. It's the same layout, same height, but double the size. So I have a lot more area to play around with, build in, and have fun with, so to say. And as a result, I needed to replace my buildings that I placed, and a few farms were generated for me in different spots. I got one farm over here, just next to the town, that was generated, and also two farms over here in the sandy area next to the lake, and the farm that was here just got a bit bigger, and there's another farm over here. Two farms actually, and small farm here. Another farm. Just some farms dotted around the terrain, and kind of like that. It's nice to have them there. Gives the terrain a bit more, or the valley a bit more population, and spots the player can visit and walk and have a look at. A few things I have to change about those, because some of these farms are in areas where you normally wouldn't find farms, because the ground is kind of sandy. The sand texture is a bit too much, so I need to change the textures around here. But I decided not to do anything with textures anymore, because I need to wait on getting the plugin I wanted to have for better terrain textures. And I will work on textures a lot when I get that one. I will just go over the buildings and the placement of buildings today, and then work around with the terrain a bit more, make it a bit more defined. I think I will raise this area up a bit. I either raise it, or I will create another river here. I'm not quite sure yet. I kind of like the idea of another river that goes into the lake over here. and then move the fishing dock to the side a bit, and it would also change the area around here, which I have flattened out at some point, but I'm not using it anymore for my village, so I need to think of a good use for the area now. And the generation didn't put a lot of farms there, so I need to find another good use for it. The other thing I wanted to work on is the village area over here. I want to change a few of the buildings to more interesting looking ones, and add a few fences and make the village look more interesting as a whole. So, and maybe build a small wall around it, and then go around this area and move it up a bit, and maybe lower this parts of this area a bit more for roads. And I wanted to have a mine over here, so I need to change this area a bit more. So that's the plan for today. Just play around with the terrain a bit more, add a few interesting spots to it, and for that I might even remove some of those. Yeah, I think I will remove the generated structures or the farms and let them regenerate once I'm finished with my edits to the terrain, because I really want to change this area and this area, and for that I need both the flat terrain and also the spots would change for where farms could spawn and where they wouldn't spawn. So that's something to keep in mind. And I'm thinking of making the village bigger. Make a real town out of it. Add more buildings to it. Because now I have the space to add a lot of stuff to it. And that's a good thing, so I can play around with the village a bit more. Add interesting buildings to it. I have a few of the blueprints that the guy from CD Forge made, and can add a few more houses to it, and maybe even make my own combinations of houses and save them as blueprints. And then place them on the terrain and spots they look good. And I also need to change those houses because this village was created by accident, more or less, and it was the Gaia generation created two small villages right next to each other, or in that case into each other, and that's why most of the houses look the same and there's not much variation in it. And I need to change those around so that they look more, that the houses themselves don't look the same and feels like there's a real people built those and not just designer added them to the terrain, because those houses are all the same and that's not good. I mean, it would work in a modern society, but in medieval times the houses didn't look all the same. They all had different layouts a bit and different structures and stuff like that. And as I said, I have a lot more area to build on and work with for that. So let's start with the village. And for that, let's take the big inn and move it someplace else. Like, where would the inn be? Would it be in? Would be in the center of town, more or less, I think. So let's. Could have left it at the spot it was. Undo move. Okay. Let's leave it there, but let's move this house, because that's the mayor's house and that's on the outskirts of town, maybe overlooking the town a bit. So let's move it over here. And we have this flat area over here, and then I think I'll move it there. Yeah, I think that's a nice spot for it. It's not much of a height change, but it should be enough. I think the area over here isn't big enough for it. No, maybe it could fit here. Then would overlook more of the area around it. Yeah, let's